So what do you think are the two most important challenges facing email marketers today, do you think?
Yeah, so the world has changed for email marketers. I mean, the 1999 way of thinking about email marketing was completely batch and blast. You know, you have a list and you just send them as much email as you can send through the pipe, right? And it's inexpensive and the ROI is high, and just send it out, just send it out. So the 2010 version of that is that we have a very socially connected internet. So subscribers are not just faced with clutter in the inbox, they're faced with clutter in Facebook and in Twitter and across websites and community forums, and it's on our phones now and it's on the iPad, and email has changed dramatically, not just from a design and resolution standpoint, but also just from an impact standpoint. It's not enough anymore to just broadcast. We as marketers must engage. So engagement is one of the biggest things that is affecting email marketers, and it affects every aspect of how we do email marketing today. So design, because of mobile and devices. It affects relevancy because of the clutter, right? And it affects the context that you receive email, because if I'm a fan of yours on Facebook and I'm getting information there, and then you're also sending me the same information on email, plus it's in your catalog, that's not interesting. That's not a great way to use email marketing. I'm just going to ignore that. So what you want to do is think about the content that engages, particularly in this channel, you know? So there's some great examples of marketers who do this well and have this idea of synergy.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about the trends. What do you think is coming down?
Yeah, so so engagement is a big one, a big trend. I think there's also this idea of the social connections and how that changes the inbox itself, right? So Yahoo and Gmail have already started to add social features to their inbox. So now you can go to your inbox and you can IM, you can tweet, you can update your Facebook.
You can annoy everybody.
You can do it all at once,
yeah,
exactly. And email your mother at the same time, right? And, you know, respond to a brand, and respond to a sale or a promotion or a newsletter, right? So all of those things are happening in your inbox at once. So we have to compete with that. We have to stand out in that environment. And so, you know, a batch and blast mentality from 1999, that's not going to work anymore. That's not interesting. So the other big trend is around data integration. So if I want to take advantage of things like automation and triggered messages, like you just purchased and now I'm going to send you something that's relevant to the purchase you made, or you just visited my website, or you just posted to Facebook, I want to respond to those things in email marketing. In order to do that, I need the data, and I need the data to come back through my CRM or my commerce system to the email system. And that's not trivial, right? So all that data integration sounds great in concept, but it's really hard to get all that stuff to work together. So I think one of the big trends we're going to see in the next year or so is that marketing teams, direct marketing teams, need almost like a technologist on staff. So not a developer. We don't want people who write code.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, we want somebody who can do this data integration. We want somebody who is knowledgeable and savvy enough to think about how that data transforms the content that we put together. So it used to be that a marketer could put together content, think about cadence and think about content strategy, and you would just sort of do it manually. Like, I'm going to send this message on Monday and this message on Wednesday and this message, right? I can do that manually. But if I want to actually respond to, like, Sue is on my website differently than Stephanie, then I need to use the data. I need to automate that. So I need a technologist, a marketing technologist, who sits there and makes sure that all that process works, that the right content gets to the right person, and we use the right fields in the database. So for people who are entering the field and people who are doing this well, there's a huge opportunity for folks who really get that and really understand that, because that's the barrier today, right? So marketers say, yes, I want to do that. I want to have that integration. I want to have that automation, but I don't know how to do it. I can't get help from my IT group. I can't get my systems to talk to each other. I've got some old clunky, you know, legacy database that doesn't let me pull fields into my email service provider. So I think those things are big. So we talked about a bunch of stuff there, but it's engagement, right? It's the social connections of the inbox, and then it's this idea of data integration and the technologist on staff. So I think those are the big ones.
All right, so once you imagine here, so let's fantasize for a moment. So yeah, email fantasy, it's always,
I love it.
It's great. So you have all this in play, and it's a few years down the line. What does email look like? What is the future of it?
Yeah, so from a subscriber standpoint, which is really what matters, I think it feels much more custom, and it feels much more personalized, right? So I get up in the morning and I have my version of the 2012 iPad or whatever it is, whatever the device is, and I click on, and the first thing I see in my inbox are, summaries of things that my friends have been doing, and then it's summaries of things that the brands I follow have been doing, and then there's a very specific set of offers that are for me today, things I can take advantage of now, and then from a business standpoint, there's some content that has been gathered exactly for me. I think that the inbox is going to start to be that hub where all the things that happen out in the social world are sort of brought back together so I can easily consume them. So I think that's the ideal way for consumers. So for marketers, that means that what I send has to be really relevant for that moment. So it's not just, here's what's on sale this month, that's not interesting. It's like, Stephanie, here's the things that you might like that we know that you're in market for today, right? So I think that there's a big difference there.
There is. So speaking of the future, I'm sure you have, and we have great interns that work with us throughout the year, and especially in the summertime. What is the most important piece of advice that you can impart on the next generation of marketers?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. So I think the most important thing I would say for someone who's just getting into direct marketing or digital marketing is be ready to be an advocate for your customers. So if you're not ready to stand up to forces internally, right, that say, you know what, email's cheap, just send it out, or why can't we just post everything onto Facebook or Twitter, like, you know, without a real strategy, we'll just kind of throw something up there, or let's make sure we get everything into our catalog, right? Like, you need to be able to advocate for your subscribers and your customers. If you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to sort of put yourself on the line to kind of say, this is how this technology really creates experiences that are worthwhile and meaningful. If you're not willing to do that, don't come into direct marketing. Go do something else, right? That I'd say is the thing that we really want and need in this industry, is somebody who gets that the technology is helpful because it creates experiences, not because it helps, you know, marketers do more or anything, right? It's about creating those great experiences.
Well, you're certainly an enthusiastic advocate, and everybody appreciates that. So any parting words, any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us today?
I would like to sort of remind everybody that in a lot of ways, email marketers are their own worst enemy, right? So the great thing about email is that it's inexpensive, and the worst thing about email is that it's inexpensive. So we as marketers have to do a little bit extra work to make sure that our bosses, the CMO, the CXO, that all those people, plus our vendors, understand that what our customer needs are, right? And so it's easy to say, well, just go ahead and send it because it's inexpensive. There's no real penalty at the start. The penalty comes further down while people are clicking on the report spam button, or when they're sort of emotionally unsubscribing because you're sending them stuff that's boring all the time. So, you know, email marketers need to step up and sort of say, I'm going to make sure that the investment in this channel gives me the tools I need and the technology I need to create those experiences. And so I think there's a big opportunity for us this year in 2010, coming off of the worst of the recession into a time where the vendors are making that technology available, and also I think that this idea of, you know, one data source for the direct marketer is becoming much more common and accessible. Now's our chance to become that hub that we were describing earlier. I think that's a big opportunity.
There is, and well, I certainly feel a lot smarter than I did a few minutes ago about this entire topic. I hope you do too, and that you enjoyed all this wonderful wisdom from Stephanie Miller at Return Path. Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us for CinemaDMA. It was a delight.
Thank you. It was great to be here.